Hi, and welcome to the Eczema Podcast, where you'll learn tips, products, and natural eczema remedies from Abby, registered holistic nutritionist and founder of PrimePhysiqueNutrition.com. Here's your host of the Eczema Podcast, Abby.
A new study just came out showing that severe cases of eczema were linked to a 41% increased risk of heart attack, a 69% increased risk of heart failure, and a 22% increased risk of stroke. However, the team say that people with eczema should not be alarmed since the risk of having these conditions remains low. And there is so much that you can do now to help with this condition, plus the information in this podcast will hopefully give you hope that there is so much we can do to help it. So I hope that today's podcast will really encourage you. In today's podcast, I am sharing a testimonial from one of the members in my group coaching program with the Conquer Eczema Academy, and she's actually a surgeon who's been with us in my group coaching program for a while now, and it's just amazing to hear about her healing progress, and she is still healing, but it's amazing that she has healed so much despite what doctors around her have said. She has chosen to remain anonymous as well in this podcast because of her work in the medical field. But it's just such a story of hope that she brings to know that she has also tried alternative treatments to help her skin get better, despite what doctors have said in her medical field. So I really hope that this story encourages you today. Before we start the podcast, I also wanted to share another quick testimony from another one of our members in the group coaching program with my Conquer Eczema Academy. Her name is Eileen, and I really hope that sharing this testimony will give you more hope that you can heal as well. Because if you are watching the video podcast, you can see her before and after photos as well, and they are amazing. So hope that gives you hope, and here is Eileen.
I joined this group maybe 2 years into topical steroid withdrawal, and I, wasn't sure exactly what I would gain from being here, but because I feel like, I did as much research as I could. I did go to, different practitioners. Surprisingly, I learned a lot of little things here and there, and I'm finally seeing clear results that I had not seen in the last 2.5 years, and it's an awesome tool for anyone who's in any stage of their TSW journey, because I thought I read every blog post possible. I'm really glad that I decided to join, and there's other people who are going through the same struggle. That's very comforting and then empowering that we're kind of rooting each other on.
If you want to learn more about the Conquer Eczema Academy group coaching program, be sure to check out conquereczemaacademy.com. And without further ado, here is the surgeon sharing her story for today's podcast.
So basically, I'm 40 plus, and I've had my eczema, allergic rhinitis, and asthma since young. And, so I think at different phases of my life, I have different problems. Initially, in the first decade is asthma, and then after that, it was eczema, then after that it was rhinitis, and then after that I think that over the time I do use steroids a little bit here and there, but usually I think those days the steroids are not so crazily potent, and if you were to just use a little bit, it would be all right for a couple of months, or and then after that it comes back again. There's another allergy reaction that came on. So I think I was pretty okay until probably in my late 30s, where I'm a medical doctor. I'm a surgeon. I specializes in breast cancer and thyroid. you know, with work commitments and, you know, a lot of calls and all, and I'm so a mother with two children. My daughter is now 15 and 11. You know, probably work commitment, family, and all. I think the stress sort of got on to me, and in the late 30s, I developed like I don't know. I just had very severe bad eczema, and naturally, the first thing that you know you apply without thinking is steroids, and I've always used Elomet, okay. But when the new thing came on, Protopic, I also tried that, and you know, then I realized that hey, it's not going off, and every time I stop after the course, which is there's a recommended course when you're supposed to just use steroids only, and it just keep on coming on, and it's getting worse, so much so that I actually had to visit several dermatologists and professors around the country internationally, you know, when I attend you know, a dermatology conference, just to talk to these international professors about why we can't heal from eczema, and all they tell you is like use small steroids, and you know, eventually it will go away. And so I was not too happy about it, because as an endocrine surgeon, I know what steroids can do to your body. You know, you get moon face, osteoporosis, and heart problems, cataracts, and whatnot in the long term. And you know, so that's where I started to look for alternative natural healing. And yeah. So you know, I searched around, and I came to know about topical steroid withdrawal and about addiction. And you know, also various methods of eating healthily, you know. But you know, in Malaysia we have such very good food that it's very difficult to eat healthily because it's just so good. So I was not willing to go down that road. I was about, you know, the dieting part. I wanted to like try all other ways, and but you know, the eczema was getting quite bad, that you know, so I read a lot about topical steroid addiction, came to know about ITSAN, and then I think the most important thing was I came to know a group of Singaporean eczema topical steroid eczema supporters who are going through topical steroid withdrawal. And you know, I managed to be able to contact them and speak to them, go down to Singapore and talk to them, and you know, some of them had actually done the withdrawal for a couple of years, and you know, I've decided, okay, I will go into it, right? And was ready for the repercussions that is going to come on. So, but that time I also was working, I'm already a consultant surgeon in the hospital, and you know, can be a bit flexible, because I can tell my juniors to do the work, and right, and I've got senior consultants who are very supportive of what I'm going through. When they found out that I want to stop my steroids, right? Yeah, so you know, and while I was going through that as well, I understand that, you know, if I want to heal naturally, it's just not about stopping steroids outside, it's also internal healing. And you know, I'm lucky also that I suppose sometimes, you know, all the energies just comes together and you meet the right people. And as I was looking for internal healing, and I found a health coach, right? And actually she's you know, and so I went into vegetable juicing, and I think currently she's now in Canada, and her blog is called Juicing for Health, Sarah Ding. Okay, so she was my health coach, and I met up with her, and you know, I told her about what I'm going through, and I really want to try and you know, have a better internal healing. So she actually guided me, and I was very lucky that my topical steroid withdrawal period took about you know, a year and a half to overcome. All right, and compared to many others who took years and years, and you know, so there are a lot of things that maybe we can discuss that another time. So actually I did very well. So 1.5 years I was fine. And you know, basically 98, I think I would say that almost 80-90% of my eczema actually, and the withdrawal actually healed. And you know, there was no more flare. I was able to, you know, get back to work properly, only the itch just comes on and on. And naturally, I was having a very good diet, and then later on, since I was better, you forget about the diet, and then you just go back to doing, eating back, all the wrong food. And then then after that, I went on to do my subspecialty in breast cancer and oncoplastic surgery, and and all now new added stress, poor diet, poor health, and I guess age is catching up as well. And I had my next bout of eczema flare. Yeah, I think they call it the topical steroid withdrawal flare, or I'm not too sure, but for the last 3 years, it was really bad. It was really bad. Like, I didn't know what went wrong. Again, I did, I just refused to, no, I don't want to go back to eating vegetables, and, and so I was trying all sorts of things. So I tried other alternatives, like a lot of detox. I do coffee enema. I do a lot of vegetable juicing that's still the same, and I even tried alternative like Qigong. I learned Qigong and some meditation and relaxation techniques, but up to now, it hasn't really been better. So I think the point of time came like probably 1 month ago. I said, okay, that's enough. I've had enough already of this, and I think I better go and change my diet, right? And that's when I went on this diet that is no the elimination diet, like everyone is talking about. No grains, no gluten, no soya, no dairy, no nightshades, and just pure vegetable juicing and very clean eating. And surprisingly, within 1 to 2 weeks, I can actually feel the effect. Like my flare, which was always 7 to 8 out of 10, the itch was like 6, 7 out of 10, and the skin dryness and flakiness is like a sandpaper. All this practically reduced to less than 5, 3 to 4. It was very significant. I feel generally so much better. All right, and so I've actually continued until now, and so yeah, I mean this is basically my part of the story, what has happened over the last 7 years. And with regards to being a doctor, yeah, I'll tell you that little part. So, when I was going through the initial phase, when I was having, the very bad, the first time, 7 years ago, the bad eczema, and, I went to see my own hospital dermatologist, so to get the free medication, so they were giving me steroids. At one point, they were telling me I need to take oral steroids. And when I decided to go through the topical steroid withdrawal, I met up with some of them, and they saw that I was so red and I was oozing and weeping. And I was working. I've never taken 1 day of MC out of. I miraculously, I don't know how I was able to work and go through all that. And the dermatologist was very upset with me, and they got the head of department to come and talk to me and tell me that I'm very silly and stupid for going through this, and as a medical doctor, I should know about guidelines and protocols and what is right and wrong. But I say no, I've decided to take this into my own hands, and then I'm willing to go through the repercussions of it. And after I healed, after 1.5 to 2 years, and they met me again. I mean, on and off, they see me along in the hospital, and I shook them and see, I'm practically cleared. No, no redness. I'm steroid free for 1.5 years, 1.5 to 2 years that time, and so. And I told them, listen, you're killing all your patients by unnecessarily giving lots of steroids, and but I can't change the protocol, right? So, but I think one by one they sort of can accept. But but when as a medical doctor, sometimes it's very difficult. The patients who come to you, for a treatment, and unless the patient is willing to change themselves, it's very difficult for the doctors to tell otherwise. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's about a little nutshell of what I have to say. I can't take the whole hour.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. I think it really encourages a lot of people.
This is Jen. I'm the other coach in this group. And
Hi, Jen.
hi. I think it's awesome that you went back to these dermatologists and showed them your skin and just basically told them, hey, I took care of it. I could heal myself without the creams. Like, that's what, I hope that everyone will be able to do after they get through the steroid withdrawal. Because they need to see this. They need to see that, like you said, it's unnecessary to be prescribing these medications.
Yes.
So that's awesome. I commend you on that. How is your skin right now?
It's great. It's great. Now I've been almost 1 month on this, this diet, and it's smoother now. The flakes are very fine, like powder, and it's much less. The flare, I'm happy to say that it's down to 2/3 out of 10. It's only the itch that comes on and off, So on some days it's less than 5. On some days I just don't know why it's very itchy.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not uncommon to have like a stress itch or even like itch just out of habit. Sometimes I even do that. Like if I'm frustrated or something, it's kind of like a comfort or a coping mechanism, and it's something that you kind of got to break yourself out of. Just be like aware of it.
Yeah.
But I think it's pretty amazing that someone from the medical field is in our group, because usually, a lot of us have had a lot of bad experiences with doctors and dermatologists who just prescribe us steroids.
I mean, it's sometimes when we are going through the flares and we don't understand, withdrawal flares is can be very torturing, and sometimes you don't know where is the end,
Mm-hmm.
and but I believe that you will heal. But 2 things: diet is very important, the right supplements, and your positive mind.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I feel these 3 things is very important. It's not so much of I've tried like so many creams. I've gone from one end of the world to the other end of the world, and you can just buy a very simple natural organic moisturizer. But of course, you need different range, because there are sometimes where it's very dry. You need a thicker balm, and if it's not so dry, then you need a cream base. And for those whipping stages, I find the zinc cream mixed with a balm helps a lot.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
Yeah. So, but a lot of it is dealing with the internal healing, right? So I've done like coffee enema. I think that helps with the liver glutathione, to improve the immunity, and as well the gut healing.
What are you eating right now? What's your main diet? I know you're avoiding a lot of things. So are you mainly just eating fruits and vegetables? Anything else? No meat, right?
Meat, yes, I take salmon.
Okay.
I'll take salmon, and I do bone broth. So I'll just take, for the time being, I'm just going into fish. But occasionally I sneak in chicken or whatnot when I go out with people. But I'll just have a plate of stir-fried vegetables, vegetable soup, raw salads with dressings. I just keep. So far, I've kept away from grains. I'm not such a gluten person, so that's okay. But I love rice. I can have like 2-3 bowls of rice with this really good curry, But I've actually stayed away from spices as well. Yeah, so it's like pretty bland. Like my sister was saying, it's like baby food.
Baby food. Yeah, it's going back to basics. But it's a clean diet that makes a big difference.
It is definitely. And this diet thing is not something that's easy to just go and do it, right? So that's why it took me so long to finally put my foot down and okay. And I wish I did that like a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing. It's very helpful hearing your story, and I know it encourages a lot of other people as well. So thank you so much.
Most welcome.
I hope her story encouraged you today, because I feel like it's encouraged a lot of people in my Conquer Eczema Academy group coaching program. If you want to learn more about my group coaching program, you can check it out at conqueroreczemaacademy.com. And that's it for today. I hope that you have a great week, and I pray for healing for you if you're listening to this right now. And if you ever need more encouragement, you can visit my website and read more of the success stories on my website at primephysiquenutrition.com. I hope that helps, and have a blessed week ahead of you. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Eczema Podcast, and stay tuned for our next episode. If you like what you just heard, we hope you'll pass it along to your friends and colleagues. Visit primephysiquenutrition.com for more articles and tips. Thanks for listening.